Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Couloir Mining Talks. Today, we're joined with Pascal Hamlin, President and CEO of Abcourt Mines, a seasoned mining engineer with over 30 years of experience. Pascal has led major projects in the Sudbury and Abitibi mining camps. He brings deep technical expertise to Abcourt as it advances operations at the Sleeping Giant mine. Pascal, welcome to Couloir Mining Talks, and it's great to have you here.
Thanks for the invitation.
Absolutely. So, as I mentioned in the introduction, you've had over 3 decades of experience
That's correct.
in mining project management. How has your background shaped your approach to leading Abcourt mines and advancing the Sleeping Giant mine?
So, very good question. The experience that you get by having in many different type of operation. Um, Very often it's the challenge, or sometimes they can be very different, but they all have a common element. If you go head first without thinking, there's a chance that you could get hurt. So you gotta, and when I say hurt financially, health and safety, so you gotta plan your things. You gotta plan your activities to make sure that you're going to be successful. Because in mining, there's no second chance. So you're gonna do things the proper sequence. You're gonna make sure you understand the first element, and that you see too many failures is you gotta learn the geology. You gotta make sure you master the geology of the deposit, because that's the common difference. They're all different. There's no two deposit. It can be 5 kilometers apart, and they'll have total different geology. So you gotta master the geology. And with that, you gotta be there in the field. You gotta drill. You gotta have your geologists on the ground, if it's underground or in the pit. It has to be geologists in the team, and very good geo.
Right.
After that, of course, it goes to engineering. If you got a good geology, but you don't have the best mining method for the geology, another chance you could have that it's a success for it. It's something you could fail by having the wrong mining method. So you got to make sure you got the right mining methods for the geology, not the other way around.
Right.
Don't try to impose a mining method to a deposit.
Right.
The geology has to lead you to a mining method.
Okay.
And then after that, once you got the geology and the engineering right, then you invest in getting the material extracted.
Great. And let's talk a bit more about your project. Abcourt Mines recently released a series of very good drill results at Sleeping Giant Mine. What does this mean for the company and its overall growth strategy?
So for us, Sleeping Giant, eventually, our goal is to put the mine in production. Okay. So there are steps towards that goal. Is you got to de-risk your projects. You got to increase your confidence in the geology, and that's what we're doing right now. So we're drilling on the ground. The miners are establishing drill bays on the ground in various level of the mine. So we have one rig on 785 level.
Okay.
It's near the bottom of the mine. This rig is targeting blue sky. So when I say blue sky, on untouched area of the mine. So it's greenfield. There's never been mine, and we're getting pretty good results over there. So we have one rig there. We had drill results 2 weeks ago, and they were like over 40 grams, over 2 meters.
Okay.
You're getting that range. Sleeping Giant is a narrow vein subvertical deposit. So very often you're going to see those 40 grams. Now we have another rig on the upper levels. That one, it's converting inferred resource into indicated in preparation for mining. So we're doing that right now in the upper levels. And last week, again, we had fantastic drill results over 100, I think 170 grams over half a meter.
Okay. So
spectacular numbers.
Right.
And those are area where the day we start production, it's not going to be years away. Those are the first few area we're going to be targeting. So it just helps advancing Sleeping Giant. Right now, Sleeping Giant, we're in the construction financing phase.
Okay.
it needs. Our plan is to eventually build a sleep camp because the mine is almost 90 kilometers from the city of Amos. So, city of Amos is a city with over 10,000 people, but to commute every day
Right.
for workers, especially in the winter months, you need to have a sleep camp at the site, and so that's part of the construction financing. The rest is underground development.
Okay.
Underground development and pre-production ramp up. So the mill's operational, the tailings facility is operational. All it takes is underground development and start the extraction.
Interesting. Yeah, I was wondering if we could talk a bit more about the history associated with your project. Obviously, it was operational prior,
Yeah,
so just wondering if you can talk a bit more about that.
yeah. So the deposit was discovered in, I believe, late 70s, early 1980s. The first shaft was sunk in late 80s. That mine was in production since the early 90s. It produced over 1 million ounces between 1990 and 2014.
Okay.
2014, it went on care and maintenance. It needed more drilling, and that's what happened. Abcourt, we acquired the deposit and the mine in 2016. At first, we were processing the material from another mine, the Elder mine, 200 kilometers away from the mill, and we were trucking that to the mill and using the mill to process the material and extract the gold.
Okay.
Sleeping Giant underground, there was drilling, but there was no 3D model yet. There was no the geologist. It's a very complex deposit, Sleeping Giant, and the bottom was not modeled. So we hired geologists. We did the 3D model in the fall 2022, which led us to a resource estimate in January 2022. Following that, we started to do the engineering while the geologists continue. Like the geology model, the resource that we released in December is a snapshot of where the geologists were with their work on November 1st, 2022. Well, since then, the geologists continue their work.
Okay.
So they continue to advance the model, but the engineers took the resource estimate and the stope layout, well, not stope layout, but mineral envelope, and we designed the mine. So we did the economic evaluation in June 2023.
Okay.
Got that out. And it showed a very profitable mine, 30,000 ounces a year, 6 years.
Wow.
Now we're over 7 years now.
Great.
With the geology that's been doing, and we've been drilling since November 2023.
Okay.
So with that drilling and now a second rig underground, so now that's why we're increasing the resource potential of that mine every day. And right now we think with the increase in gold price every like almost on a weekly basis, it makes the project more and more and more attractive.
Yeah, I was about to ask that question too.
Yeah.
The gold price almost reaching 3,000 at the time of the shoot. The question is, how does that impact Abcourt's near term and long term strategy as a whole?
Yeah. So near term, we have to work towards putting Sleeping Giant mine in production. Right. That's a key, short term key, because then you start generating your own cash. And then it's a 30,000 ounces a year mine with very good margin. In Canadian dollars, you're looking at close to over $2,000 an ounce margin. So there's good potential there to make significant return for the shareholders.
Right. Let's talk about the milestones to get to that production. It's near operational and expectations to scale production, as you mentioned. So can you walk us through the current plan to ramp up that process, and what could investors expect? Any upcoming catalysts, perhaps?
Well, there was one big one this morning. We announced this morning a partnership with a mine contractor from Val d'Or, Groupe Minier Technica, in Sudbury. It's Technica Mining from Sudbury. They have a branch in Quebec, Mini Technica, and they did a private placement into Abcourt. So our goal will be aligned. You know, the company wants us to be successful. They want the share price to perform. So, and their development, they're mine contractors. So for the underground development, the construction, you know, it's going to be a lot. It's a lot easier when you have a good partner for that part.
Of course.
So that's one step. The second step is continue the construction financing. The market will see there will be steps, you know, but the market will see that and they're going to say, oh, okay, now they're financed. They're going to start probably very soon their development, you know. So the plan is once we got the construction financing completed, we immediately buy the camp, install the sleep camp at the site for a 50-man sleep camp. We have the permit for that part. The construction permit is ready. Everything's ready at the site. Power, sewage system, and potable water. Everything is ready. All it needs is the camp.
Right.
And then from there we just grow production, and then we continue to advance the tillings, the milling. The milling will be there will be a lag between when the production starts on the ground and the milling. Usually it's 3 to 4 months. You build your underground inventory, and then you start processing material on month like number 4.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I would love to talk a bit more about your land package too, and your other projects too, and how they might complement the overall strategy. So, I mean, you have a significant land package in Quebec beyond Sleeping Giant. How do projects like Floridan and Discovery fit into the company's overall strategy?
Good question. They're all gold asset. So all these deposits eventually could be processed at our mill. So that's one key item,
right?
Because it takes a lot of capital money to build a mill and a tailings facility. So if you already have that, that's an asset, it's a major asset. And all the deposit with the gold price that we're seeing, Abcourt did it. They were hauling material from the Elder mine over 200 kilometers. And it was making money between 2010 and 2021. So it's a model that can work. So that's why we got these other deposits, and we're working on them. Like in July 2024, we made a significant discovery at Floridan. We obtained the permit to increase the size of the stripping area. We exposed right on surface over 200-meter long by 10-meter wide of a gold structure.
Interesting.
So it's 6.5 grams average right on surface. So that was in October. And what we did after that is we started drilling in January when the ground was frozen, and we've been hitting since, like good intercept. We have drill intercept 50 meters below surface, and the deepest that we announced last week was 400 meters below surface, and 2 kilometers apart. So we got the outcrop over here to the east. 1 kilometer we're in the middle. We intercepted the gold structure in 2023. And then this winter in 2024, another 1 kilometer to the west, we intercepted again at 400 meters below surface. So now it starts to, and it's the same rock, same formation. So, and the geophysics says there's a corridor of chargeability along. There's a trend. Just have to follow it. So, oh yeah, very, very interesting and very promising for us. Put it that way, the geo are pretty excited.
Great. Yeah, definitely sounds very exciting. So as far as the management is concerned, it can definitely be one of the most important variables when we're talking about companies in the junior mining space. Your management team has played a key role in successfully advising Sleeping Giant Can you give us a brief introduction to some of the key players, perhaps, if we can begin at the board level and then kind of close down?
Yeah, the board level, we're well versed. We got geologists, engineers like myself. There's another fellow, Noureddin Mokadem. He's a mining engineer from Morocco, the former CEO of Aya Gold and Silver. He's on our board. We have René Branchot from Lavery, over 40 years of legal experience. He's a very good lawyer. We just have an accountant that just joined us, Eric Graton. For like he's been in I think the last 15 years in mining. A CA. We have François Mestrelet, one of a very wealthy Frenchman, so from France, so well versed. So that's why we got the board is very good. We got when Abcourt acquired Perchimex in 2023. Robert Gagnon was the CEO of Perchimex, so he accepted to join Abcourt as the VP Exploration.
Okay.
So he's the one that's making all these discovery at Cartwright and Florbeck. We at Sleeping Giant itself, we have a very solid, good team. There's 50 people already there with senior management. So the team is getting built at Sleeping Giant, and we attract talent.
Yeah.
So it's a small group. It's almost like a family. So yeah, it's a lot of work, but it can be very rewarding.
Absolutely. Great. And as far as the financing aspect is concerned for Abcourt, as you know, it definitely plays a very critical role for junior miners. How has Abcourt approached funding its operations, and what does your financial position look like for the next phases of your growth, those milestones, as you mentioned previously?
Yeah. So for the last 3 years, we raised over $20 million, all equity. It's a little bit bizarre because a lot of the capital is coming from Europe, very little from Canada. Like the institutional investors in Canada they went to somewhere else. I'm not sure, but
do you think there's a particular reason why Europeans might find projects?
They like gold.
Okay.
They like gold, and they see that gap where the majors went up. Because they're producer, but the junior, and especially in the precious metal, they haven't gone up yet.
Right.
So there's a gap being built up, and eventually, when the people realize, they're going to say, well, there's a lot of cheap stock out there.
Right.
And so sometimes it takes someone else. You need to have someone from outside to see it.
And then on top of all that, there's the gold price as well.
Gold on top of that is like in Canadian, we're over 4,100. There's no one producing at more than $2,000 an ounce right now in Canada. So those are $2,000 margin.
Right.
So it's pretty good. So that's why if you're a producer, now is the time to invest.
Absolutely. And as far as the risks are concerned, when we do speak of uncertainty, this space can be quite volatile, as you know. What are the biggest challenges do you think Abcourt faces, and how is the company mitigating them?
The largest challenge for any company like us is financing. Right. It's the biggest challenge. It's not men. It's not the employees. It's not. I hear people talking about permitting. Tell you, the permits arrives a lot quicker these days than money. Right. So no, capital market are tough. Us Abcourt, we've been fortunate. You're going to invest a lot of energy on your shareholders and make sure that you answer their calls. Like too many, a lot of shareholders are thanking us that we answer the call. Like that's the basic. If you want your shareholder to participate in future financing, they got to know the story. You got to talk to them. Absolutely. So if you don't talk to your shareholders, well, first it's a lack of respect because the shareholders are in theory, they're not in theory.
Mhm.
In fact, they are your boss.
Mhm.
You know, they own the company,
Right.
so you work for them.
Yeah.
They
Right.
don't work for you.
And it's your job to tell them what's going on, where your capital is being.
What's your plan?
Right.
How you're going to make you're going to generate wealth?
Mhm.
You know, not just the shareholders, the local communities.
Right.
You're going to generate wealth for all stakeholders, not just the
Right.
shareholder.
Great. Well, thank
Yeah,
you so much, Pascal, for
my
joining us
pleasure.
today. Just have one last question. If there's one thing you could leave with our listeners about Abcourt, what would that be?
Well, Sleeping Giant, like it's, I believe we can get that mine in production not in 2028, 2026, no, in 2025.
Hmm.
So putting that mine in production
Hmm.
will be a total change of perception for Abcourt.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Pascal, for joining us and sharing your insights on Abcourt Mines and its future. It's exciting to see the progress at Sleeping Giant and what's ahead for the company. To our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Stay connected for more discussions on emerging mining opportunities. Until next time, this is your host, Vaibhav from Couloir Mining Talks. Thank you.